Welcome back to the Girls Gone Wise podcast.
Rosine right here.
And Jill here. This podcast is so that you can learn from all the mistakes that we made.
So you don't have to make the same
So
mistakes.
you don't have to make the same mistakes. So today we're going to be talking about the fall of feminism. And
more specifically, the sexual liberation.
The sexual liberation movement and the destruction, and we're not here to judge, but to explain in a very scientific and practical way why this is actually harming men and it's harming women. So again, we're not here to shame, but there are things that Roj explained that blew my mind. And I've also tracked a lot of things and done a lot of research and
just observational things.
Yes.
Just notice the pattern.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Firstly, I just want to say, there is there's a movement that's saying that it's really good for women to just be sexually liberated and give anyone access to their most sacred, powerful resources and their energy, and not to mention the energy exchange that happens and what happens biologically to women when we are intimate with a partner. We get attached biologically. This is because
it's harder for women to divide the line sometimes between sexual and romantic connection. I feel like men have an easier time to separate the two. Whereas for women, sometimes when they have sexual contact with someone, they also get romantically involved much faster than the guy. Again, this is actually just as bad for men as it is for women, by the way. We're not just focusing on how it affects women, but we're probably going to start somewhere.
We're going to talk with both angles. And you made a comment, women hold the gateway.
So I think if you want to think, I don't know where and when I heard this, but the word gate came to mind when I was thinking about this. I don't know if someone else said it or I just came up with it, or it's just a combination of things I've heard over time. But the gate theory to a relationship. So I think men and women, they both bring things to a relationship. Sometimes it's different things that they value. In most traditional heterosexual relationships, a man would provide the provision and protection and commitment, and women provide the affection, sexual relationship, sex and intimacy. And I feel like when sexually liberated, and if things are not taken seriously, and actually intention is the better word, if that relationship is not intentional and it's very casual, sometimes it can affect both genders negatively, because that gate gets there's imbalance in that gate theory. And the way it sounds very abstract, but I can explain a little bit more. Oh, sorry, you were gonna say something.
I was gonna say, for any woman that is struggling to get commitment, this is going to be a really good episode for you. And any man who
struggles to get affection and fulfillment.
Yes, fulfillment, 100%. This is going to be a really, really powerful episode for you.
Okay. So I'm going to start somewhere. Jill's going to help me. So given that we're talking about a heterosexual man and woman relationship here, if a man provides commitment and provision for the most part, in that that's what he brings to the table, and a woman brings affection and intimacy, then when things get casual, a man would, generally speaking, would be able to go down on the commitment and provision level. So a man will be able to lower the expectations for that relationship in a hookup culture. Because if he's not providing or committing and he's just having a sexual interaction, then it's less investment for him. So he's willing to go like lower the expectation he has in a relationship. So like he would be able to hook up with a woman that he would, generally speaking, not want to pursue a romantic relationship with, because there's less that he's sacrificing. If you just meet up with someone and hook up and there's no conversation after that, there's no relationship after that, you're not giving any commitment or provision, but you are getting at least like a short-term sexual and intimate affection in return. But for a woman, that would, in many occasions, be emotionally draining and mentally, I would say,
mentally draining, emotionally, mentally chaotic.
like,
because
these
are her values.
Because these are the things that she's giving away without receiving
for
anything.
free.
So it tilts the gate
with no compensation.
So well, it's not a business transaction,
no,
but you know,
no, but you know,
it tilts the gate. So it's like there's an imbalance there.
It's
right?
getting something
I don't
for
even know if
nothing.
they can really see anything. This is actually quite small. So like, let's get closer.
So can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
Also, women release oxytocin when we're intimate with a man, like sexually intimate. That's the bonding hormone. Men don't release this. So they don't bond to the level that a woman does through sex, through intimacy. Now,
so they can compartmentalize it better.
Yes. When men invest time, energy, resources into a woman,
yes,
they value that.
Yes.
And this is where they start to build a deeper bond and the desire to protect her, to provide for her.
And that's why for the same reason that a lot of women who don't get that kind of provision and commitment through a one night stand or a casual relationship get emotionally damaged by it.
Yes.
A lot of men also are scared of commitment because a lot of times they do provide that, like commitment and provision, but the woman, like for example, they get married to a woman who doesn't provide any kind of affections, intimacy, support, and any sexual relationship either. So it's kind of like the same thing, because in that example, the man has provided the things that he is supposed to bring to the table, but the woman hasn't matched that. So again, the gate theory is like the gate is tilting. It's kind of like the same thing where a woman is like, oh my God, I met this amazing guy who was so nice to me, and then I just went home with him. And then he just never called me back. The reason it's so painful for that woman is because she brought what she was supposed to bring to the table, but she realized that it was a facade, it was a mirage. It was just like a short encounter, and she didn't get any kind of value in terms of like what men provide in a relationship.
100%. It's what we talked about last episode in the 3 parts about the games women play and men fall for, pretty power dark games. We're basically elaborating on this in a way that, you know, when the woman gives so much and doesn't receive, but also when a man is giving so much and he's not receiving the sexual
affection. It's just different things, but it's the same kind of formula.
Yes, and it's meant to be a give and a balance, like infinity, giving and receiving, a balance. But when it becomes unbalanced, whether it's a man giving and not receiving, or just giving, like we talked about last time, to a woman who's friend zoning him and he's subtly hoping and actually manipulating him, consciously or unconsciously, then the person, the one person who's giving what biologically they're meant to in a relationship, like, because men are biologically wired to protect and provide. If we look at ancient times, they were the hunters, right? Women were the gatherers, the healers. They were the ones that brought the love to the family, the joy, and brought everybody together. So they nurtured the household, and the men went out to protect and provide. But it's like the men not bringing in the food in olden days and the women just nurturing, but they're not fed. Eventually they're literally gonna die. The family's gonna die, which is metaphorically kind of what's happening now. Or
vice versa. In a casual relationship, the woman's heart is gonna die when she's like, oh my God, I got so attracted to this guy. I spent all my time emotional energy, sexual energy, everything with him, and then he just vanished. So it just feels like you feel drained because you're like, oh, within the gate theory principles, I brought the affection and intimacy to the table, but then he didn't provide me with anything. So that's why a lot of women even settle for a guy. Like women lower sometimes their standards in order to attract commitment and provision. So that's why you see a lot of women who would like marry a guy that they wouldn't have dated otherwise. Because and vice versa. Sometimes men lower their standards for a hookup. Like they would sleep with a woman that they would not marry. It's the same. It's the same thing, but just like other sides of it.
And apparently I've heard that men know quite quickly if it's somebody he wants to be with long term. And I think a lot of times the women are like, oh, I'll convince him. And the man's already made the decision. And it's apparently really hard. Like it doesn't really change. This is what I've heard.
Because you met the standard for something casual, but you didn't meet the standard for something serious. And that's not going to change because like he's like, oh, she's worth like a casual 3-month relationship, but she's not worth my provision and commitment.
So she's giving her sex and affection, but she's not receiving. And I want to talk about some energy concepts here, like really simple energy concepts. So the sexual energy is actually our creative energy. So when we're giving it away, but we don't have the safety, it's meant, then we can't create in life with it. It's like we can use that to build a business, to do art, to create anything in our life, right? And so it gets depleted. It is supposed to expand. So if she's in a healthy relationship where she has the safety, it basically roots that energy and it can expand. But if she's just giving it away, it doesn't have that safety. It's literally just draining.
And same for men. If you give your commitment and provision to a woman who's like cheating on you, not loyal to you, doesn't give you love, doesn't care about you, doesn't give you that intimacy, then you just get resentful because you're like, oh, like that's what happens when like in a gold digging situation where the woman just takes, like that's why a lot of men hate marriage nowadays, because they gave everything, the commitment, the provision, everything, and the woman just like took off with some other guy. So it's kind of like that same resentment. That's the same, it's the other side of the coin to when a woman feels like, oh my god, like I was falling in love and I thought this guy is gonna love me forever, and then like he just used me. A lot of women use the term used me. It's the same thing, just two sides of the same coin.
And I think some of the resentment's actually towards the self, because it's like, wow, I gave this thing so valuable away and didn't receive anything for it. And men value what they invest in. So biologically, again, even the masculine side of women, because we all have inner masculine and feminine, but women have more feminine energy, the magnetic energy. Men have more of the electrical energy, which is like the doing energy. So when men don't have to work for anything, unconsciously, and they just get handed to them from this entitlement, unconsciously they get resentful because on an innate level, again, they're built to go out and hunt and fish and protect and provide, and it actually makes them feel really good.
That's why they don't want to cuddle after a one night stand. Apparently I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, he just wanted me to leave. Because you just remind them of like, oh, I just got this like thing so easy and like I didn't do anything. Like I just,
it's like
just don't
disgust.
have that disgust.
There's like shame there.
Shame and disgust, I think.
Because it's they haven't had to earn it. And there's something, you guys know what we're talking about, when you've actually like put in the time and the energy and the effort, and then the fruit.
I just thought about something.
Like actually. you get the prize of it. It's like, it feels so
like
good.
Exhilarated almost.
It's like when people just get given so much money and they didn't have to like invest in and put in the work and create. It can cause a lot of problems because all of a sudden they just got everything that they ever wanted, quote, handed to them, but they didn't have to put in the time and the energy. This is how wealth gets squandered, actually. Generational wealth.
And the female equivalence is when women settle down with a guy that they're actually not attracted to, like their clock is ticking, I've heard, and then they marry the guy that they would not even date when they were 20, but now they want to have kids, and they're like, oh my god, I just have to settle down. He's willing to give me the commitment and the provision. He wants to marry me. And then you see the same resentment, like the way they talk to the guy. You just like, and the guy knows, and she knows that like she just settled.
Yeah.
So it's the game theory of like, she was like, oh, I gotta get that commitment of provision, but I'm not gonna get it from someone that was my 10, but I need to settle for someone who's my 5 because I can get that. It's kind of like the same thing as when men say, oh, I'm not gonna get like my 10 to be casual with me, but I'm okay to just be casual for a woman that I would otherwise not like even date.
100%.
But women do it with commitment. They sacrifice to get more of that. So sometimes they settle to get more of that commitment and provision. And men sometimes lower that standard to get more of that sex and intimacy and affection.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, neither is happy when that happens because they know they're settling.
Or they know that they in like a man's case, they know they didn't earn it.
Yes. And it's very extractive energy. And maybe it's like the short-term high. Okay, got the thing, took it from them. It's like when, I'm just gonna use an example, like a man takes the virginity of a woman and she thinks he's gonna marry her, and then she's distraught because he never had that intention. And so he just takes it, but he also doesn't feel good about it. Sure, he got what he wanted, but there is like it's like the soul doesn't feel good, right? And so when it's balanced, it does. And we've been painted this picture that
because it wasn't the same investment for her, it was an investment. For him was like, oh, I will like have casual interaction with any woman because I don't have to provide commitment and provision.
100%.
So to him, it's not a big deal. To her, it's a big deal. Completely devoting myself to this relationship. I love him. So that's like the intimacy. I had sex with him, and I usually don't have sex with guys, or in the example that you're explaining is the first time. But for him is like, oh, I would have done it with like some girl that I don't even care about, because in that example, he's not giving anything, like he's just receiving, right?
Exactly.
Even though he might eventually feel disgust or shame afterwards, depending on the case. He's not within the gate theory principle and the framework. He's not giving anything. He's just receiving. So he can lower his standards. He will have sex with a woman that he won't marry because he's getting the sex, he's getting the love, affection, intimacy, and the female energy, but he's not giving anything. He's not committing, he's not providing nothing. So it's kind of like, remember last episode we talked about booty call and foodie call?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a booty call. In a booty call, a man is like, oh, I'm not giving any commitment or provision, but she's going to come over and give me everything that a woman technically, traditionally provides for a man. In a foodie call, a woman is like, oh, I don't care about him. I friend zone him. He's on my roster, but he's going to give me that provision and attention and time and commitment to some level. In a foodie call, it's like, oh, I got the time, I got the attention, but he's just my friend. I'll have like 100 guys that will do this for me. So the same betrayal that a man feels, where he gets booty called, a woman feels when she gets booty called.
Yes.
But it's the same thing, just different sides to the coin, because we're talking about two different perspectives.
Yeah. And I feel it's so sad because there's people teaching to do this, like just use men
or use women.
Or use women. Like there's literally something came out recently, I think, with the Epstein files about there's some men learning how to like manipulate
women into this.
And then there's women like this.
There's the whole gold digging culture.
The whole gold digging culture in a lot of spiritual communities. Women are teaching this. Let the men just bow to your feet, but don't give. Just receive.
Or have that relationship with multiple men.
And it's actually causing so much destruction. And I don't think anybody in that and pain. Nobody's actually happy. And it's like we've lost our. I don't want to bring morals in, but in that dynamic, we've lost our moral compass. Because also women are betraying women. It's like this, and the soul is just that deep betrayal.
Men are becoming very resentful. They're like, well, I don't even want to ever commit to a woman because they're all taking advantage of me, using me for my money and resources, and then they just go and they're not loyal. They're not providing me with any sense of safety emotionally.
100%.
So what's the point? But the interesting is not the right word. The sad part, the tragic part of it is that a lot of people focus on how it affects women in a negative way, and then some people only focus on how it affects men. But I think it's like a lose-lose situation.
It is.
And nobody wins. Like short term, yes, maybe the woman short term feels really like, you know, that pain, like feeling of like shock of like, oh my God, I can't believe he was just using me.
Yeah.
Short term. But long term, a man learns that there's no benefit into him like bettering himself. So he doesn't have to build anything. He can just like lure a woman, like use the right words, manipulate or trick a woman into a tilted gate. Oh, I'm just say what she wants to hear. I'm gonna like get her drunk. I'm gonna lie to her so she can give me like I can tilt the gate to my advantage. And I'm gonna like hook up with her even though I'm not even planning on calling her in the morning. So in the moment he might get a feeling of like satisfaction on winning the game, but long term he learns that, oh, there's no benefit to me leveling up and becoming a man who can provide and commit, which in turn is like good for him in the long run. So I feel like this whole
wait, let's clarify. Good for him to better himself.
Yeah. I don't know. This is something else. Sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, this is really hard for me because it's like very abstract. So sometimes
and when this becomes a societal problem too, because men aren't learning to build and root. And so the family structure is getting destroyed, but also in business, then they don't have how we do one thing is how we do everything. It becomes our character. So wondering why they can't build a business. And it's like, because they haven't become that man. And the woman is the one who often holds the standard because we've made our most valuable resource. We've been manipulated to make our most valuable resource cheap and free. And so it's this lie that, oh, just like women should be able to experience pleasure and like, sure, yes, and just sleep around and no shame, but we're not looking at the bigger picture of the destruction. It's actually not good for women and it's not good for men, because men become weak, they become effeminate, they learn that they're entitled, they don't have to build anything, and women are losing their most valuable resource, not to mention the emotional trauma. And some people are numb to that, and that okay, but we're not looking at this as a society. It's not about just like liberation and women should be able to just have sex with whoever they want at any time. All the men would start to rise and become better men, better providers, protectors. They would build in business. There is statistics on, I think it's 95%, I could be wrong, maybe it's high 90s of millionaires are actually in a marriage or a monogamous partnership.
Even though it's counterintuitive because it doesn't make any sense. You think if he's single, he has less expenses. But in reality, a man who has that commitment and that responsibility end up doing better.
100%.
Because you rise to the occasion.
Right? You rise to the occasion. He becomes stronger. He has a reason to protect and provide. And like on a psychological level in our subconscious mind as well, people don't lack motivation. We lack vision. So if there's no vision and we actually show up for other people more than we show up for ourselves, this is neuroscience.
Everybody does that.
Everybody does that. We do that too. Because if we don't feel like, and if it's just for ourselves, it's like, whoa. But if there's somebody to keep you accountable, and it's like, well, I got to show up for that person. So like, we will do it. And so for men, a big driver often is their family and their wife to provide for them and provide a good life. And so they anchor that vision. It's not about, ooh, do I feel like it today? I'm just not feeling it. Like they get up and they work and they do the dang thing and they become better men. And then they value what they've created and earned. And they're also receiving the affection and the love of the woman, which I think helps nurture them and nourish them to continue to get up. Because at some point burnout happens. And if we don't have that love and that affection and that feminine energy, it's like the mother energy is what I'm thinking, then burnout can happen a lot more quickly. I don't know if you've noticed that.
It goes both ways. Like for men too, sometimes I feel like men who are a bit weaker, sometimes they support or enable bad behavior in women too.
100%.
Like men who will let women take advantage of them when it comes to time, attention, money. The same thing. It's like you just talked about how women should raise their standards so men rise to the occasion. Same thing. I feel like men also have to raise their standards.
Yes.
So not Venmoing money to some girl who friend zoned them, or like
Wait,
subscribing to subscribing to OnlyFans. Like again,
oh no,
I
OnlyFans.
sorry, I feel like you probably all know how I feel about OnlyFans at this point. But like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you like spend like work so hard to send money to a woman who doesn't even care about you?
Yeah,
and you just see her naked.
She probably loathes you too.
And there's like there are millions of men that she is doing that for. So you're not special. You're not like, you're basically putting yourself in a position that a woman can take advantage of you. Is the same thing. So for the same reason that you said women should raise their standards, I think men also should raise their standards. Like, no, I'm not gonna provide for a woman like getting naked in front of a million people. I'm gonna instead of paying $100 monthly subscription for that, I'm gonna buy a house and give that to a woman who's like fully committing to me and like giving me love and affection and intimacy and cares about me and motivates me. So it's the same thing. The most important part of this conversation is that how it affects both genders negatively. It's not just men or just women. And I feel like a lot of narrative is around how it's only bad for men, or it's only bad for women. It's just like bad for society as a whole. It's
bad for men, for women individually, and the whole society. And 100% agree. And I just want to say one thing about OnlyFans. Perhaps look at this. But what happens is it actually trains men to bypass their heart, the circuitry. It's a different circuitry. So then when they get into a relationship, they look at women like an object instead of a human being with a soul that they can actually love. And it's a huge problem, because it's like, well, why are so many men looking at women as an object? Because it's literally changing the circuitry in your brain.
It commodifies women.
Yes. And so and then
but it's bad for men too. People think it's just bad for women to like objectify themselves, but when women objectify themselves, men also see them as objects, so they can't really see anything like a human behind it, because, for the most part.
And they're not going to be motivated either, or they're gonna be if they ever have a family, disconnected, because their heart's so close, and they're not that. It's that love that really drives a man. I believe my theory. And I've also done a lot of research, and I've studied neuroscience. So it's that love that drives a man to protect and provide, and I can only speak for myself here, but I've never met a super successful man who has been like addicted to OnlyFans. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm sure there's one outlier out there, so please don't say, oh, I actually know this like super like successful lawyer who's like has his own firm and whatnot. But like, I'm sure there's one guy out there, but I'm talking like generally speaking. But I see a lot of guys who are like living in their mom's basement and playing video games all night, and they have no ambition, and then they're the target for these women. It's kind of like they're the targets. They're the people who are being exploited. Because the woman doesn't care. Like, she's at that point, she's very comfortable with doing that. So it's not like she's sacrificing anything. She's used to sex work. But you're working so hard. You're literally like working at McDonald's, and you're making like, what's minimum wage? $18 an hour. So for your $100 subscription that you're giving to that girl, like, you're working a whole shift so a girl can take her shirt off and you like on camera for you, like you see how you're being the object here too. Like, in a way you're objectified in a way where you have to put so much of your time and effort into a dead-end job to give to a woman who doesn't even know your name, really. And you're getting depleted, so you can't actually build anything that's supportive and really useful to society. And we're not shaming on people working at McDonald's, but we're just saying like it also drains the investment. It's like you're investing so much, you're working like 7 hours of your time, and you can put that into creating something. Like, money that you made in McDonald's can go to an investment fund and can collect interest compounded over time, and next thing you know, over time it becomes a good chunk of money that you can buy something with you, or you can invest in your future or education, or anything else. You can help a family member, you can retire your mom early. I don't know, I'm not saying with like, you know what I mean, like, obviously I don't think you get paid enough, but I'm just saying the whole intention behind it, right? We're also throwing away your future if you consistently indulge in this kind of like destructive
patterns of behavior.
100%. And even you're draining your life force into what, a camera too. It's not even just the working in at that type of job when you have so much more potential, but you're also draining on top of that your money and your life force. And so this is why I think so many people are stuck, and they're like, the shifts aren't actually that they're hard perhaps, but they're not that complex. You know, I think a lot of people are like, well, why am I stuck? And it's like, well, you just got to get like prune the things that are actually keeping you stuck. And this is something that I think a lot of men, in fact, I know a lot of men struggle with. And it's just,
you know what works?
Destroying.
You know what works actually? We talked about this earlier. Instead of thinking of yourself, think about how you feel if someone you really love was in that position. Because sometimes we don't care about ourselves much, but imagine like if you have a brother you really care about, do you want your brother to have that kind of lifestyle? Like what would you feel? Like that really sometimes helps me in situations where I want to know if a certain behavior is good or bad. I'd be like, would I like I was thinking about someone I love so much, like in my case my brother. I'd be like, do I want my brother to do this? Think about like, do you want your son to do that? Like imagine you're like a 27-year-old guy right now and you're doing that. Put yourself, like, think about the future. Do you want your son to go work really hard and spend his money on a virtual sexual exchange?
And it's like, I think at the core, people are looking for love, but there's no way you can get love from a computer screen.
Some people are really good at faking it. Like I know some of those really successful actually OnlyFans sex workers. A lot of them like ask for the guy's name apparently, or like create this personal connection. They have like chat.
Yeah,
like,
but it's fake.
But sometimes it's not
real.
even the girl chatting. It's like they're outsourced it to some guy in like a different country. You're basically chatting with an Indian guy sometimes. You know what I mean? And you think it's this OnlyFans, like it's crazy. It's the illusion that they create.
Yes, it's
because they know that that's what you want. They know that you're lonely. They know that you want that intimacy, but it's like a cheap version of it. Sometimes it's not even real. Like
sometimes it's never real.
No, I'm just saying sometimes it's not even the girl you're talking to.
I don't know, but I bet you it's probably never the girl.
Yeah, unless it's like her first shift and she hasn't outsourced anything.
Yeah,
like it's her first day and she's like, oh, I only have like 2 people watching me, so I can. She's basically selling you that illusion of like, oh, some woman approves of me, even though you haven't really earned it. Like you haven't earned that approval and you know it. That's why you feel really bad inside sometimes. It's the shame, because you're the equivalent of like having that casual encounter at a nightclub and then you want her to leave in the morning because you're like, oh, I just didn't provide anything for her, because it's your conscience. You're like, oh, I didn't give her any provision, any commitment, any masculine energy, and I sucked the energy out of her. Like, oh, I lowered my standards, but in doing so, I probably also gave her the wrong impression.
100%.
Like there's a high chance that you know that she's gonna wake up and she wants you to call her because she's like, oh my God, like the gate tilted. Like, I gave, I didn't receive. And same thing for, again, goes for men too, but just differently.
I gave, and I didn't receive. Sound familiar?
To all the men and women who have given and given and given in relationship and not received back, in part 2, we are going to unpack why this happens, the hidden dating dynamic that nobody talks about, and how understanding who holds which gate can save you years of heartbreak. We'll see you on part 2 of the Girls Gone Wise podcast, The Gate Theory.